Hello, beautiful people. Happy Sunday, everyone. So, today Venus is entering the sign of Cancer, and I decided it's a good opportunity to actually close my series of living on a Pluto line because in 2 days' time I will be relocating back to Europe, and actually, the place I'm heading to is on my Chiron line. So, I definitely pick the easy lines to live on for sure. Well, anyway, I don't know how long I'll be staying there, but for now, my Pluto line adventure it's coming to the end, so I've decided to share how it actually went for me this past 5 months. So this video is not gonna be very astrological. I'm gonna keep the astrology to the minimum, or at least I try anyway. That's the intention. Today Venus is entering the sign of Cancer. She is going to make a trine to Saturn soon, and then before she leaves Cancer she will make a trine to Neptune. So this is actually a very, very nice transit because mostly there will be positive aspects going on there. And Venus in Cancer is all about home. It's all about TLC. It's a very watery, very beautiful energy. So this, to me, it's very in resonance with what I'm going through, because actually I'm just about to leave my home, the home that has been my home for the past 5 months. And this place, Puerto Vallarta, it was my home in the past lives. So it has the feeling of coming back home every time I come here, and it seems that every years ever since I came here for the first time in 2020, I am being pulled to come back here, but I always feel that it's exactly like going back home to my parents, that I'm always looking forward to it. I want to hang out for a while and then I need to leave and live my own life. So in a sense, I feel that this is what Puerto Vallarta offers to me. It's a place where I reconnect with myself. It seems like it's a place where my gifts are being activated. Also, a lot of people from my past lives, a lot of soul tribe family enters my life. And then it's time to go, time to move on and carry on with life, wherever that takes me. And actually, in these past 5 months, I feel this has been the most transformational time of my life, like ever. And I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for all the ups and downs, all the opportunities that I've had to learn more about myself and about others. And I actually had a lot of realizations, life-changing realizations that helped me to completely transform the way I look at my relationships, whether this is relationships with my friends or potential future partners, or even a relationship to myself. I had a lot of realization with regards to my essential needs and values, what is important to me, where do I need to put boundaries, where am I no longer able to compromise what is important to me. And it's very interesting that every single time I come here, I seem to be coming and going about the same time as the eclipses are hitting us. And actually this lunar eclipse that we've just had in a sign of Scorpio, for me Scorpio is in my 9th house, even though it's intercepted, but it is in my 9th house. So it seems to be very literal how this cycle is coming to the close for me. And also, as I shared in my deja vu video a few weeks ago, always during the full moon in Libra, which is my actual 9th house, it starts with Libra cusp. I seem to be always here making these big life-changing decisions that are pushing me forward towards some new direction. And this is exactly where I'm at this stage. Right here, right now, just about to leave in 2 days' time. Actually, I'm going through this grand packing of my life, which is extremely stressful for me because I'm a Taurus and I get attached to my things, and it's very difficult for me to then let them go. And I have to squeeze my life in 2 pieces of checked-in luggage and some hand luggage, possibly extra hand luggage if I can get away with it. And I don't know what is the next thing, because as I might have shared in my previous videos, now for the first time in my life, I'm in a place of a complete surrender where I'm just following the guidance. So whereas I was thinking to go down the same route as I had gone in the past, which is what my deja vu video was about a few weeks ago, exactly like I mentioned already with regards to this full moon in Libra. twice before, 2 years in a row, I was presented with this choice: what am I doing after living here? And twice in a row I chosen to go back to the UK, where I had lived for 18 and a half years, more than half of my life. And twice I chose to go back to get a normal job and to get back into the same environment, the same city I lived in, socializing with the same people I knew. Of course, there always been new people coming into my life, but essentially it was continuing the same path as I was walking on before. And this time that option is not available anymore. So for the third time, having the same epiphany, being at the same crossroad, this time I had chosen to make a different decision. So even though I am flying back to the UK because that's where my return flight is taking me, after that I'll be heading to Bulgaria, which is a place that seems to be popping on my radar for the past 3 years. I have no idea how long I'll be staying there for, but for now this is the plan, the non-plan plan. Yeah, let's see where that takes me. So it's in a sense scary but liberating at the same time, to not know, because it presents everything is a possibility, everything is an option, like the whole world is literally the oyster. And who knows where that's gonna lead. But so far, every time that I've surrendered to the guidance and let go of trying to control my circumstances, where I thought that I knew the best, actually that which happened and what came out of it was better than what I could have expected. So this is my hope for this time as well. Also, as I keep saying, we are the creators, so probably I should stop saying hope. Because at the end of the day, the future is what we make of it, what we create it as. So yeah, so these past 5 months has been quite turbulent. There's been a lot of ups, a lot of downs. I had a period of time where I was literally doubting myself. Even when I first arrived here, I had a huge crisis where I was doubting whether it was the right decision to drop everything and leave everything behind, everything that became familiar and comfortable, and just to come here. And I also went through another crisis a few weeks ago, at the beginning of April, where I was again doubting whether I'm doing the right thing, following the right path, whether this is my purpose, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And then things shifted for me again, and now I have much more trust within myself and within the guidance, also the understanding that everything comes in cycles, nothing lasts forever. So once you up, once you down, this is just the cycle of life. And I had my solo return last week, so a lot of old cycles from previous year had closed for me. Also, as I briefly mentioned in my video with regards to Lunar Eclipse in Scorpio, a relationship that was very dear to me came to a complete close. So the cords were cut and the chapter had closed. And now there is nothing holding me to the past, literally. So it is just going forward from here on. And trusting myself most and foremost. And this is pretty much the main lesson that I had been learning here, to actually rely on myself and to understand that all the resources to create whatever I want in this three-dimensional reality, in this world, are within myself, and to go after what I want, or go after what I feel is the right thing for me. And that it keeps changing, of course. Like as we go through life, our priorities, our values, our needs, they keep changing, and it's important to acknowledge that as well, because sometimes we try to get stuck in that comfort zone of that, oh, this is what I've always liked, this is what I've always wanted, so this is what I need to stick with. But that is not the case, because as we all change, grow and evolve, so does our needs, our values, our relationship. Hopefully they grow too. And also our perception of reality, how we seen what we are going through, and also how we look back at the past, how we might see it from a completely different lens. And being here this past 5 months definitely helped me to shift the perception of what I went through previously, especially in my relationships, and own up to what perhaps was a mistake. But there are no such a things as coincidences. Nothing is random in the universe. So I'm sure even the thing that I see now as a mistake, as something that I potentially could have handled in a different way, it was a learning curve. It was something that had to happen in order for me to learn. And the whole point is to then remember the lesson, so we don't have to go through it again, as it had been in my past, where I repeated the same mistakes over and over and again. Especially when it came to my relationships. And then I was surprised, why do I keep attracting these people and these outcomes, and why it's always the same? But there was only one thing that was repeated, and that was myself being in that relationship. So it couldn't have been all these other people that were wrong. But I had to own up to my part in what didn't work potentially. So that was definitely a huge one for me, to have this complete shift of perception and actually embodying it, not just theoretically thinking it, but taking the responsibility. And another one was, as I already shared, with regards to my living circumstances, how important for me it is to have my own space. And again, it seems like every time I was living with other people, at some point the dynamics changed and they became kind of like my enemy. And there was nothing wrong with any of these people. And again, I had to acknowledge and own up to the responsibility that it's up to me to create my living environment. And therefore, if I have certain needs with regards to what kind of conditions I want to live in, it's my responsibility to make it happen and to create resources to be able to make it happen. And it has nothing to do with people I live with. It's, they just live in their own life, and they again just represents a mirror. So this again was very helpful to me, because it's something that kept repeating for me over and over again, over years, like decades maybe even. And I never had this understanding, and people might think that, well, it's quite obvious, but it wasn't obvious to me. And I'm sure many of you might be going through situations where things that might be clear and obvious to other people are not to you, because when we are in the situation, we cannot see the forest for the tree, right? So anyway, guys, I just wanted to share that this is a little bit video that is just like just going out there on an impulse, just sharing. Also, I'm procrastinating to finish my packing because, like I said, I find it so stressful, and it's always overweight, always. So I need to finish it, but I thought I'll take a little break and hop on and share this experience of my 5 months, which has been magical in a many senses. It's been magical experience to having this privilege to take that time to myself, to really go through these ups and downs and explorations of my own psyche, and having the time and space to do it. And of course, to be actually pushed into following my path as an astrologer, to actually had to start doing it professionally and start showing up for myself. And I could no longer make excuses that, oh, I'm not good enough and I don't know enough and I need to take another course and that course and whatever course, But I had no choice. I literally had no other choice than to start. And and that's been a huge shift for me too, because I've been procrastinating with that for years as well. And I'm sure that this might resonate with many people, especially people who are into this kind of spiritual practices and vocations like astrology, tarot, and all these kind of things that people consider just as a hobby, that it's a not proper job, but it's just a hobby. And then also we believe that, oh, well, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's just a hobby, and maybe it's something that we shouldn't even charge money for, right? It's just something for fun. But we all are here to do different things. We all have different purpose. Some people want to bake, some people want to be a doctor, and some people want to be an astrologer or a tarot reader, or amalgamation of different things. Like at the end of the day, we are multidimensional beings, so we are not just one thing. And to actually have the courage to follow that path, regardless of what someone else is saying, it's huge. It's huge, and it was huge for me personally, because I wasn't exactly supported in my decision, definitely not by my family, and I just persevered. And it's not like I know what I'm going to do next, and I don't have it all figured out. As I keep saying, this is just this this part of my journey right here, right now, and who knows what is the next turn, what is behind the next crossroad and next fork in a road. But this is where I'm at now, and I have no regrets, and that's why I always try to share my stories, to actually encourage people that if there is something that you really want to do, something that you called to do, and you actually can do it. Like of course it's different if you have children and family and people dependent on you, and I'm privileged not to have that. Well, I mean, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, because everything's got the polarity, right? Everything's got pros and cons. You know, having single and childless has its pros and cons, right? But if you have the opportunity to make changes that will lead you towards doing what you really love and pursuing your joy, then I highly recommend it. It is scary, of course. It's scary because it's something that we haven't done before. So it's any new skill that we learn in, we insecure and we don't know like how we're gonna do and where it's gonna lead. It's this Aries archetype, right? But we had a lot of encouragement from astrology. Actually, not even encouragement at this point, is a necessity. Like we have not much choice with regards to these new beginnings and purging the old cycles, letting go and starting something new and going for it. And this becomes just more and more intense. As in my upcoming video, I want to talk about this Jupiter moving into the sign of Taurus and what's going to be going on there. We don't have choice anymore. Like, it literally, you either do it voluntarily or we will be pushed. We will be pushed. Like the things that are keeping us stuck will be removed one after the other by whichever means, by whichever ways. But I feel that evolutionary, where we are at as a collective, we have to move forward, and the circumstances will be made where we have to do it. So at this stage in my life, and I understand that my circumstances are very different to most of people's circumstances, my life has been quite unconventional in that way, how I chose to live it. But I feel myself, how I'm experiencing this transit for myself, is that the less resistance I put out there and I just surrender and just decide that, okay, I'm just gonna go for it and see what happens, and then just adjust as I go along. This very Aries energy, like, okay, well, let me just try it, and then if I fall, then I stand up and try something different, right? And I feel that there will be a lot of that for, well, probably everyone, because as the nodes will shift into Aries Libra, North Node being in Aries, more and more people will be tapping into this energy of Aries that, well, let's just try. Who knows where it's gonna lead, but this doesn't work for me anymore. The Pisces, you know, this closing of the cycle with this lunar eclipse that just properly kicked it off. And let's just try something different and see where it leads. And if it doesn't lead to, you know, what you exactly visualized for yourself, you can always change the course of action, the course you are walking on. And I feel there are always people who help and support you. Like I have never met so many like deeply impactful and like people who touched me in such a deep way in such a short period of time as I had now. Like, yes, there were always important people who played important roles in my life throughout the period of my entire life, but it hasn't been as many in such a short amount of time. And it really feels to me that the more I'm showing up for myself in my authenticity and like just standing up for myself and being who I am unapologetically so. And you know, I know that there are probably a lot of people who don't like me or don't agree with me, and it's okay, because we don't necessarily have to like and agree with everyone, but we have to respect the choices that other people are making, because they have the right to make them, and also the beliefs that they have the right to those beliefs. So anyway, saying all that, the more that I'm actually becoming truly myself without all the masks and pretenses that, you know, were required in certain roles that I played in my life, especially when I worked on a cruise ship. I was extension of the company, so I couldn't exactly just do and say as I wished. But the more I'm able to do that now, the more I feel that the people I'm attracting into my life are really my people, are my soul tribe, are really on my frequency, are in resonance with who I am, what I'm doing, what are my intentions, what are my goals. And that, like I said, that keeps changing. So also these people will change. Like nothing is permanent. And this is a big lesson in my life, being a Scorpio, Pluto Scorpio generation, to learn about the law of impermanence, because Scorpio wants to attach so deeply that it doesn't want to let go, because it makes it feel like vulnerable, right? It has this fear of abandonment, loss, and betrayal. And that's a big lesson for us with strong Scorpio, to actually learn to be intimate with people, to intimacy, to open ourselves up, to be vulnerable and therefore risk being hurt. But actually at the same time to have the privilege of the experience, because if we don't try, then we don't know, right? If we don't open ourselves up to being hurt, then we can never be loved either. So there have been a lot of lessons that I've been again honored and privileged to experience during my 5 months of being here, and I'm very grateful for them. And I am sure that I'll be back at some point. I don't know when. I never know. It's always just comes like out of sudden. Like each time that I came here, it was not planned. It was not long-term plan. It's just something that spurred out of moment. And same was for last year when I came here for my birthday. Literally, I just woke up with the desire one morning and I wanted to come here, and I found a super cheap ticket, which was like incredible price. I don't even know how that was possible. And yeah, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, I was here, and I only came for 2 weeks. But this time it was the same. With the eclipse took away my relationship, my job, and my place of living last year in November, and I was here within a month. I arrived on December 7th. So yeah, so literally today is exactly 5 months, and I'll be leaving May 9th. So closing of the cycle again, you know, the number 9. And yeah, it's as I briefly mentioned, it's on a day when Uranus is Sun is conjuncting Uranus, so shaking up my foundations again, shaking up my place of home, because Taurus in traditional rules my 4th house. So again, moving into the unknown. So let's just see where that's gonna lead me. So anyway, guys, I'll leave it at that, because this is a just long podcast about the story of my life, which has a lot of chapters. But I just wanted to share, to give people hope and give them courage that, you know, things do work out. Sometimes you don't know all the answers, and you don't need to know, because things keep changing all the time anyway. So even if I have this entire plan for the rest of the year, it's very unlikely it will go through the way I want it, because the world we're living in right now, nothing is set in a stone in anymore. And having Uranus, influencing my sun sign, being Taurus, I have learned not to be so rigid anymore and learn to be more flexible. So Uranus definitely has been helpful, at least to me in my experience. And yeah, that's why I want to share, because I want to be the example that things do work out, and you are supported. You will get support. I have definitely been supported by many people I hadn't even known 6 months ago, and in past 5 months these people were my greatest support. So things do work out, and you're never alone, and you always be supported if you follow your joy, you know, you follow your purpose, you follow your heart, and just, you know, be open and be curious, and it will lead you somewhere new, somewhere unexpected. So that's it for now, guys. I'm going to finish my packing, and I'll try to bring this one more video about Jupiter entering sign of Taurus before I leave Mexico. I might schedule it for release next week, because I'll be probably too busy to create videos for YouTube. But I wish you all beautiful rest of the weekend. Have fun, and I'll speak to you again soon. Much love. Bye.